Dad and I are in a race to win the Premier League. We started off in the Vanarama National League with Sutton and Hartlepool United. And since Dad joined me in gaining promotion to the Championship, both of us have had great seasons, and Dad even got into the playoffs, where unfortunately he fell to a very good Birmingham side. But we are certainly knocking on the door of the Premier League now, and Dad starts this summer cashing in on Vasberg for £6 million in hopes to keep rebuilding with cheaper players. I'm looking at picking up strikers, and Jalal Abdullahi is in fact just one of the three who I'm looking to bring in, with return of hopefully Van Dijk on loan from Feyenoord. Dad also has his eyes on improving his front line, as 650k is spent on Karamoko from the Ivory Coast. But then a huge offer comes in for Etienne Moru that I cannot simply turn down, even after only having him for one season. Because that alone brings in so much money that hopefully allows the board to be a little bit more generous with the budget going forward. And I'm going to need it too, because even with the signings coming in, I have just 4 subs on the bench as well as a spare goalkeeper. But despite having a big transfer budget, I can't put any more into the wage to sign anybody right now, and I'm missing out on some targets. Dad, on the other hand, is signing a fantastic Colombian centre attacking midfielder on a free transfer, and I am incredibly jealous. Although what I'm not jealous of is the amount of injuries Dad is racking up here. I managed to find a gem of my own from Colombia. However, he was actually at Liverpool for 5 years and never made a single appearance. Even with Dad's injuries though, we clashed in the EFL Cup and Dad was still pulling out surprises, beating me in a crazy 4-3 win, but of course, it's all about the league. Right, Dad, we've had a busy summer, both of us, but kind of game-changing in a way, because the signings that we have brought into the club, and we have got to a point now where, although the board aren't giving us any money, we're selling players for enough that we're able to kind of like improve the whole team off the back of one transfer.
Sale, yeah.
Vasberg, you signed him a couple of seasons ago. £6 million you've just sold him for.
Good profit.
Yeah.
But he is, I mean, he was probably my best player at the time. But like you say, I need a team to build. So
yeah.
And the team's not all around one player.
No,
so.
I mean, he did get 20 goals and 14 assists.
I didn't really want him to go, but
the 2 players that you've brought in to replace him.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, the first thing I said to you, and I've got to replace him first before I buy any other players.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at him and you think, oh yeah, he is good.
Yeah.
But then you're looking at the 2 guys that you brought in. Kevin Para,
on a free transfer.
way better.
Yeah.
On a free. Lower wages as well, might I add.
A lot more.
From Colombia.
Yeah.
Got a work permit too. Didn't even have to take up that.
And he's valued more than £6 million as well now.
Yeah. And then Ringo Meerveld, 30 years of age, better as well.
Yeah. So I've done really well with free transfers.
Yeah.
And I've got a replacement just in case one of them gets injured, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, they'll both play, I think, to be honest.
Well, yeah, they probably will do, yeah. So,
but they aren't the only signings you made. There were quite a lot, as we can see. Even going into the loan market, there's another CDM there, Luke Howard, another centre attacking midfielder that you've brought in, Kevin Power, of course. Usman Diop, sorry.
That's where I thought my weaknesses were. It was my left back and my right back, so I concentrated on getting each one of them in as well. So I got this guy in, really pleased with this signing.
Yeah, 20
Only
years
20
of age.
years, yeah, and he's my player as well.
Yeah, so that's really good. A good right back, free transfer.
I was really pleased with this. When I managed to get this guy, I was really pleased with that.
Yeah, you did ask him to dye his hair.
Yeah.
I know you're not a fan of that.
No, but he's a good player.
Yeah, cracking player. Thiago Fernandez from Benfica, not too bad at all. Another option there in that attacking midfield slot. Then we've got defenders. You went for a centre-back there.
Yes.
In Emre Yilmaz, not a bad option.
Well, I just felt, I've done well scoring goals. I was conceding goals. So I think that's what lost it mainly for me as well in the playoffs as well. So, yeah, I was trying to strengthen my defence up now.
And Karamoko, who's another option up front.
Yeah.
Not a bad one as well.
Good one as well, yeah.
So we're looking at that and you think, well, the team's definitely improved because the only 2 players that left were Vasberg and Will Swan. Obviously, a couple of players are released that weren't in your first team. And considering, of course, you got to the playoffs last season, this team, Para, Meerveld,
looks good, doesn't it?
You're looking really good.
I mean, I won't going to change the formation because I just got into the playoffs, so why should I really?
Yeah.
So I'll just go for it again.
Okay.
I've improved the team, so as you can see, my defence is a lot stronger. And like you said, my midfield is definitely stronger.
Yeah, yeah. Schedule, though, it hasn't been a great start, although you have just knocked me out of the EFL Cup 3rd round. So you chalk that one up as another result. I'm not sure off the top of my head what we are against each other now, but it's a good result.
Yeah.
But in the Championship, you struggled to win games. You only got 1 win.
I know.
against Swansea. There's 2 or 3 draws in there and 2
It's worrying
losses.
when I think I've got a better side, but I'm just thinking to myself, well, all right, I might just need a bit of a kick on just to sort of get going. Once you get into a winning
mentality,
yeah, and then it carries on then, doesn't it? So that's what I'm hoping for, really. You've given me another game that I've won, so yep, I haven't lost in 3 games now. So
yeah, well, and the rest.
Yeah.
If you count in cup games as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mentioned my transfer budget as well. Etienne Murray, after 1 season, I think it was, after a free transfer, left for £13 million. I knew what I was doing when I signed him.
Yeah.
Straight away, I was thinking, you're going to be the path for me to be able to replace so many players going forward. And he was 25 years of age, gone to Nottingham Forest. Yes, he's a cracking player. He wasn't even my top scorer last season. £13 million. Thank you very much. And how I replaced him? Well, I brought in a lot of players because there were others that I lost, unfortunately, to like end of contracts. We've got Jameson here, who just comes in centre midfield. Abdullahi, who is, if anybody watches Away Days, that he's Jalal Abdullah. We've watched a couple of times where they've gone to watch him play, haven't they?
Yeah.
For Elfsborg. He's a good striker, so that's another option up front. And there was a point in this transfer window where I started signing players who I thought were going to be game changers. Richardson, Rivas as well, being another one. And then I kicked on another level and got a different type of player. And I'm pretty sure these 3 players here do now not get into my first team. Which they were intended to be my first team players. We got Sufniat Mieta, who everybody knows if you've been playing Foot Manager for a while. Really cheap Thailand striker. Another free transfer. And there's loads. Jaden Rowe, who's a good winger. Tyson Downham on a loan deal. He looks quite good as well.
Yeah.
Ben Grist was a free transfer centre-back. That goes straight into my first team. Kieran O'Neill, another really good striker. That's another one I'm looking at going, could sell you for a couple of pound in the future. Hennig at left back. I needed good fullbacks just like yourself. Mustafa on loan from Palace. Now, they're charging me a pretty penny. It's really hard sometimes to find cheap loan deals. We are getting ripped off, it seems, when it comes to the loan market. Jackson Reed Walker is another one that probably won't play that much. Ross Harper will, though. He plays centre mid or plays left midfield. This, though, is the 2 best signings that I have made. Landaruzzi, or Landazuri even, from Colombia, 27 years of age, was playing at Liverpool, but was released on a free transfer because they signed him for free and he never played in the Premier League. Hilarious. So he has finally got out of there, and I'm going to give him some game time because he's
really
good.
Funny is if he plays really well for you in Liverpool, buy him.
Yeah, they're like, God, he's a good player. So yeah, at 27, he's still got time to make his career worth it. But for my midfield, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then more defensive side of midfield is Daniel Dagger, 26 years of age. He's more of the deeper type of player. Good on the ball as well. Nowhere near as good as Landazuri, but still very capable in the Championship, I think. And he actually goes into my midfield. I'm going to lock him into that defensive midfield slot. They only rate him 2-star in for some reason there, current ability 2-star. That is false. Look how good that is. I just seen that 2-star and I thought, what are they smoking? You can see here, 3.5 star, very good rating. And I know people go on about star ratings, but we kind of just judge players against each other on that. But yeah, I think he is very capable and my best midfielder to go in that slot because I've changed things around. I had a bad start and I've had to alter it slightly. It was very similar to this, but I was playing 2 centre midfielders and a couple of these were different. I had the directness up to here and I realised, to be honest, that's probably a bad move because I don't necessarily have the players to play like that in this league. So I've gone to more of what I know and I've kind of saved it in the last 3 games. Of course, I lost against yourself, but at the start of the season, all that period there was playing the old tactic where I was scoring, just conceding too many. Switch it round, get a win against Ipswich, get a win against Palace, my first in the league, and now we're off to the races before Dad unfortunately beat me there. But we've got a big season ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Potential, of course, of reaching the playoffs for yourself again after not a bad start, just not a good one. and obviously getting there last season.
I'll be disappointed if I'm
Both
not
our
close.
teams improving.
Yeah. We've got better teams this time, so...
And there are players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I know everybody goes, oh, you should just do loan deals. We've tried that. We are still doing that.
It's costing us a fortune.
Yeah, once you get those players in as your own, that's how we've been able to build more money for our sides. And now financially, I've got £10 million in the bank. All right, they're only giving me 60% of my transfer revenue, but the debts aren't as bad. And Dad, you're very similar as well. You got £5 million. The debts are still mounting up for you, unfortunately, but it seems like every season they're taking out a new loan deal.
Yeah.
But it's not affecting what you can buy or sell. You're still getting 100%.
Yeah, they're still backing me, so that's good, really.
Well, let's see if they still back you at the end of this season. Well, they probably wouldn't if they had many more results like this one when we played each other in November, because our first league encounter finished 7-1 to my Sutton side. At this point, there was 7 points between us in the table, although I had played a game more and just outside of the playoffs. Dad's side did improve in the second half of the season, and our next match versus each other was an incredibly important one, because with just 2 games left, the winner between us could stand an outside chance of nicking that final spot in the playoffs. And unfortunately for Dad, it was just a 1 goal in the game scored by his player, but into his own net. However, I blew my final game of the season, even though I was 1-0 up in the final 10 minutes, and that meant Palace finished just 1 point above me, and I missed out on the playoffs anyway. Okay, well, I just missed out on a playoff spot. I don't know how much I would have affected it, but I had to beat you towards the end of the season to keep my playoff hopes alive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I failed at that, which is weird because considering how bad I started. But yeah, I'll take that season in terms of how we recovered. I just wish I didn't start off with such a ludicrous tactic to get there. But yeah, if we're looking at past positions across the league, I was in there for a while. I was 4th place a few times.
Climbed up really well, didn't you?
Yeah. You were never quite there.
No.
And when we played against each other, we were 6th or 7th and 8th, I think it was at the time. I think it was here, which is then where obviously I beat you 1-0. So we both had a chance of getting into the playoffs.
I just done me. That's it.
Yeah.
Season over.
Yeah. It was whoever won had a chance of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I won. I still didn't get into the playoffs, unfortunately. So it was a close season. It ain't too bad. If I'm looking at my goal scorers, again, it's no surprise that it's Lassie Nordas who's up there. I just thought it would be one of the other lads who would have way more. I'm still surprised that Lassie Nordas is scoring that many goals, with the likes of Munieta or Mointa, however you say his name, is in there, and Kieran O'Neill, who I was looking at thinking, yeah, you'll get me loads of money. Not necessarily. Nobody wants him at the minute. We'll see if that changes later on. But Landeruzzi, I imagine, yeah, somebody wants him.
Yeah.
He is worth £20 million. £20 million.
That's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah. That's enough to replace him with a couple of good players and like one world-class one. So I don't know whether they come in with a bid there. Are they going to come in straight away? See, this is the trouble. They always, when it's like Al Gharafa or the Saudi League or the Qatari League, they wait so long.
Yeah.
And sometimes they disappear. It's like, just put a bloody bid in, you cowards. We'll see if they're still around, because right now I could do with it. To be honest, I could really do with it. I've got 100% of transfer revenue, though. If they do come in with a big bid, I've got 100%, because balance is looking all right. And my debts aren't too bad. Dad, looking at your squad, and to be fair, we didn't look at the cups. I think I got to the 4th round, but you got to the Carabao Cup quarter-final.
Yeah.
Chelsea knocked you out for that one, which ain't too bad. None of us have managed to get to like semis yet, but we're getting quite close. It's not a priority for us.
I didn't score enough goals.
No.
Basically, that's, my goal difference, I think,
-1.
-1. That's not good.
No, and Harry Leonard only got 14.
Yeah.
He got 18 across the whole season.
So that's what I got to look at.
Well, yeah, where do you think the two centre-attacking midfielders last season, they got 20 goals. That one you sold had 20 goals.
Yeah.
The two replacements didn't even get 20 goals between them.
No, that's poor. And I thought they were better players. So yeah, I might have to have a look at that. I mean, he's wanted as well. So
you just know he's gone, don't you? Yeah. Cardiff. He's also worth 20 million.
Yeah, they say it's a game changer. Isn't it? One of them go and you think, whoa, that's 5 really good players coming in.
Especially when you can keep Midfield
and
replace him with somebody else. Interesting stuff.
It is going to be interesting, yeah. I don't know what my budget is, but if I sell one of them, it doesn't really care.
Not a lot.
No.
Not a lot indeed. Your transfer revenue is 100%. You still got an okay budget in the bounty, but it's the debts that's mounting up there. But yeah, all right. Well, a big summer ahead. Do we cash in on our star players again and just continue doing that until we get one good season and one good crack at promotion? Maybe. Is this the summer that happens? For it to happen, we need more money, and Dad has a whopping £16 million bid for Para as he looks to cash in. His replacement for him was a short-term fix with Palace's attacking midfielder for just one season. I wasn't selling players for too much, but I did get a £5 million bid for Ross Harper, which I accepted. And I was happy to keep finding little gems for what money I did have. As was Dad, who found a cracking striker for just 500k, a very physical player who is quick and 6'5". But both of us have decided to stick with the same system, and we both have had difficult starts to the season to begin with. Well, it was indeed time that we cashed in Kevin Para, £16 million.
A lot of money.
Yeah. Now, there wasn't a lot that you could put into the budget again. I think you really struggled in terms of putting that money into a budget.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the replacements that we were finding weren't quite as good as replacements that was available for us the last season, because they were just next level. Still think we've got a good summer behind us, though. You've got Francesco Gamez, Venezuelan centre attacking midfielder. Very similar type of player to Kevin Para.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He replaces him because I needed him just in case the other player gets injured, but he might even go right into the first team. So
yeah,
I'd like to have got him myself, but I couldn't afford to buy one that was as good as him.
No. So. Palace were very tight with loan 2.2 million. Then a couple of centre-backs came in. We've got Amundsen Day.
I wanted to get my centre-backs being ball-playing defenders.
Yeah.
Rather than just centre defenders. So that's what I went hunting for, and this is the first one I got in. I was pleased with this guy.
Left-sided one there, and then João Pimenta.
And another one
right.
coming in. Yeah. So yeah, I was pleased with these two. That sort of strengthened my defence up, which is I was conceding a lot of goals, so that's what I've gone for.
And then two more players that you got. Dan Dawson coming in at centre defensive midfielder, a bit of a ball winner type of player.
Just sort of helping me out in that position.
Good leader as well, free transfer. And then finally, Rickard from Hull City, 500k this guy.
Yeah.
Bargain.
I thought this was a good signing. I didn't score enough goals. I'm hoping this guy's going to help me out with this problem.
Physical monster.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 6'5" as well.
6'5",
he's
fast,
got to
agile.
be causing problems, isn't he?
Yeah.
Got to be causing problems.
Good natural fitness and stamina, can finish. Can't head it. They're only 10 for heading. But he's so big that maybe it'll just bounce off his head.
Yeah.
And cheap wages too.
That was another thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we've got to the point now where like the elite players in our league are asking for 30 grand a week, and we've actually got a couple of 30 grand a week players in there. I mean, I can't remember who your highest rated players at Diop. What's he on? 17 there? I know I've got a 30. So let's have a look at my transfer window and see how outrageous some of my signings are. Because again, few players left for me, but nobody who I was thinking, oh, that's going to be a big loss. Ross Harper left, cashed in for him straight away, £4.8 million into Oxford, who had just won the league. They'd gone into the Premier League. And Richardson Rivas, who I signed last season on a free transfer, barely played him, £3.2 million. So I'm happy with that one. The players that I brought in as replacements for him, though, there wasn't a lot, but I think the quality is good. Now, Lars De Witt, £2.3 million. I needed a better left back. I lost Andy Irving, I think he was called, the right-footed left back. Another right-footed left back has come in then with Lars De Witt, who has been a good start and can play naturally on both sides. Then we've got Abu Kamara, £4 million winger on that left-hand side. This is what I've been lacking, a crossing winger on that left-hand side. We've been playing the Danish striker there, and although he's still been scoring goals, he can't supply them as well because he couldn't cross. This guy can. Then we got two loan signings that's come in from Chelsea. What I found was they were very generous in terms of loan deals, because I barely had to pay a penny in comparison to what they were actually costing. So as you can see here, he's on a full-time contract of 19 grand a week. They're only charging me 13 grand a week, which is quite generous, really, at this level for this first man who plays on the right-hand side. Again, good crossing ability. He's also 6'4" and can jump, which is kind of nice. I'm guessing he'll be quite good from set pieces. And then Majstrovic, who is... Great name, by the way. What a class name. Centre-back. I'm not too worried about ball-playing centre-backs because he is fast, good with both feet, strong, and again, cheap as chips because I'm only paying 3.2 when he is worth 32. They wanted 10% of his wage as long as he was playing football, and I happily obliged. I was very happy to do so. So that's two good signings. I think that's come in there.
Definitely, yeah.
Tactically, I mean, we're both so close. I'm kind of keeping it the same as well. Now that I think I've got better supply from the wings, I'm very intrigued to see whether that makes a difference throughout this season. And a better left back too, I think. So we'll see. Now, we started off the season already, and I've had like a weird patch here where I started great, and then one loss, 2 draws, and then I'm out of the cup, which I don't mind too much. But that was a little bit of a strange period. And Dad, if we're looking at yours, you had also a bit of a strange period in between there too.
Yeah.
Where you've lost a couple of games, in fact, and drew a couple. So
I didn't change my formation, no, I just changed one player row, I think.
Yeah.
And I put one of my DMs to deep line playmaker.
Yeah.
So that's all I changed actually out of my team. So
and locking Rickard in on that left-hand side.
Yeah, I wanted to lock him in just to see how good he was going to be and let the other two fight it out for the pressing forward position. So hopefully I need him to score goals for me.
Yeah, that's it. Right, well, the championship, let's have a look. We didn't look at this preview last season. Still got us down near the relegation zone. I wonder when that will ever change, or whether it ever will.
You nearly got the playoffs last season.
I've been in the
playoffs. Yeah, you think we'd be a lot higher, seeing we've got better players in the team now.
Yeah.
And yet they're still putting us down there.
Crazy.
Right.
Know. Well, let's see if it happens this season. I can smell a playoff at some point. I feel like we're not going to go up in the first two. I just don't think we've got a capable ability to do that because the teams coming down are too good.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you as well, I'm glad I didn't go up on that time I did get the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm glad Birmingham did, because if I'm still struggling and I've improved my team that much, what would I have been like? I've been in the Premier League.
Yeah, but when you go in the Premier League, they give you 40 million minimum.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So it's very different.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I've got a feeling that the playoffs is what we should be shooting for. So let's see.
I think we're good enough now.
Yeah, I agree. I think our teams are both good enough, and we're not relying too much on like 1 or 2 players. We've got a good enough squad now
definitely,
to try and hopefully pull us into those playoffs. We didn't have to wait long before we faced each other, of course, and the game was dominated by one man, Sufanat Mointer, who scored 4 goals against Dad's Hartlepool side in a cracking 4-1 win for Sutton United. And as we pass the halfway point, both of us stand a good chance of promotion this season as we are sat in 5th and 8th place. I picked up another home win against Dad's Hartlepool, but going into the final day, things were so tight. Because with 1 game remaining, nothing was guaranteed, and I was currently sat outside the playoff spot, a point behind, while Dad was currently sat in them in 4th. He had to play Wrexham, who had just avoided relegation, whereas I had a home match versus Southampton, who with a win could automatically gain promotion if Hull dropped points to Ipswich. So I had a big task on my hands, and to make sure I also get into the playoffs, but I couldn't have asked for a better performance, as my Sutton side smashed Southampton 3-0 to actually jump into 4th place above them, just behind Dad, while Dad's win took him into 3rd place, meaning I have to play Southampton next in the playoffs. Dad had to face Sheffield United in the playoffs, who finished in 6th, and he lost the first leg 1-0 thanks to a scrappy goal from a corner. But with the opportunity for us to face each other in the playoff final again at Wembley, a callback to season 1 of course, surely we can't chuck this chance away. Well, I was also losing the first leg to Southampton 2-0 as well. It was another corner goal that Sheffield United put away in their second leg against Dad, and all he could get with his Hartlepool side to achieve was a consolation goal, unfortunately. And that means it's no promotion this season for Dad. Southampton started the second leg against my Sutton side with an early goal to make it 3-0 on aggregate, but it did at least give us enough time to put up a bit of a fight, and that's exactly what what my lads did, scoring a minute later and finding a second just before half-time, needing just one goal before the final whistle to tie things level, and we got that with just 15 minutes to go. However, this game ended in a penalty shootout, and when you think your luck is in, a penalty shootout can really humble you and bring you back, and missing the first 2 penalties meant there was no chance of winning this time.
Oh, it was literally set up for us to meet at Wembley as well. We both blew it. I tell you, this race to the Prem, if I had hair, would make me be losing it. We're 12 seasons in now. We still haven't even got to the Premier League. But we're
in touching distance.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very close. Sheffield United defeated you there. 2-1 on aggregate. I lost on penalties.
You lost on penalties. That's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah. Annoyingly, I lost on penalties to Southampton, who I beat towards the end of the season to get into the playoffs. I was sat in 7th place, needing to beat Southampton to get into the playoffs, and then they beat me on penalties. And I stuffed them 3-0. And at that point as well, they could still have gone up automatically. It wasn't like they had nothing to play for.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, we'll just rest all of our players in the final day. If they had won and the teams above them had lost, who it was Wolves and Hull City, if Hull City had lost, Southampton would have beat them. They would have had the 83 points. Hull, I think, was on 82. They would have got above them and been promoted.
I'm gutted now. I've seen that league table.
Yeah, because you were only 2 points away as well. Only 2 points away. And your end of the season was pretty bad. A loss to Swansea. A loss to Wimbledon. A loss to Sheffield United, who knocked you out of the playoffs. It was bad results.
I mean, all right, I might be able to take the it's the away games that's cost me, look.
Yeah, because you even beat Hull, Southampton, the two that was up there.
I lost the silly away games, which cost me. I find it. If I'd won one of them, I'd have been free.
Yeah, you beat Wolves at the top who were top of the league.
Yeah.
Leeds, even defeating them, and they only just came down. They finished really bad, down in 16th. And you had Rickard, who you locked in, 25 goals.
Yeah, he's done exactly what I needed him to do. So
highest average rating as well.
Yeah, I mean, my goal difference is a lot better than it was last season, but I'm gutted now.
500k in the wages. Let's have a look at the goals. So he got 28.
That's a bit better.
Yeah, Ringo had a good season as well. 13 and 16 there. Not too bad at all.
Do I stick with this tactic now? That's what I'm thinking now.
Well, it's been really good for you.
4 seasons now.
Yeah, 3 or 4 seasons, and it's done well for you every time.
I've done the playoffs twice with this tactic, haven't I?
Yeah. I think you can't be too silly with it.
What do you reckon? Should I change it?
Well, does he tinker? Does he not? 219 goals for my 2 strikers there. Abu Kamara from the left-hand side. Finally got some wingers getting lots of assists, which is good. Landarucci again. Oh, do I cash in on him? That's the question. He is wanted, but I don't really know. That's the big question. But transfer budget-wise, 378k. I mean, it's positive for once, which...
Yeah, it's definitely,
it could be a lot worse. But okay, well, lots of things could have happened in the race to the Prem, but it didn't this season, which means it might next season. So make sure you're subscribed and you do not miss the next time that we have our race to the Prem.
Very close indeed, but surely we can't be waiting too much longer before one of us reaches the Premier League.